Here's the story of a bunch of podcasts who were bringing Cubby content to the world. All of them did their own show. Unconnected, obsessive baseball nerds. It's the story of a bunch of Cubs fans who are consolidating all their shows. They're uniting, doing it together, so we all can grow. Cup of Cubby Blues combining with Sunranto, Baseball Rabbit Hole and Cubs PS Plus. With Cubs Pod and Briggs behind the ivy, they're all teaming up to be the Bleacher Bunch, the Bleacher Bunch. We love the Cubs, that's the way we became the Bleacher Bunch.
Welcome to the Bleacher Bunch on the Fans First Network, brought to you by all of our Patreon supporters who support us at patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch, especially Blake Beard, Rogue Wave Creative, not to mention our incredible sponsors in the Clutch shirts and Matt Camber's permanent paintings and all the great shows on the Bleacher Bunch. Cubs PS Plus, Baseball Rabbit Hole, Cup of Cubby Blue. We actually did one this week. Cubs Pod, which comes to you every day, and the incredible Sunranto Show, which was once graced by the presence of one of our friends who's here with us today, and that is Crawley, here to tell us an amazing story. He's here last week. Cubes fan Cotton is here. I'm Danny Rocket. Boy, I'm feeling crazy because shit is just nuts right now in the world, but we're here and we're alive, and we're here. The Cubs are going to the playoffs. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm excited about the playoffs. I just purchased my postseason tickets.
Okay, so did that cost you one leg or two?
Both.
How
Both
many
legs.
How many games did you buy for?
The way that it works, if you're a season ticket holder, is you're given like first option to do it. And so what the Cubs did this year is they have an option. If you want to be at the All-Star game, you got to make like a 3-year commitment. And I paid. Yeah, because I was going to stop getting season tickets.
Is
Your
this
Ricketts
the 2027 or the 2027 All-Star game? The season that they are negotiating the new players
Probably already
contract,
bought the whole
all that
season,
stuff, right?
Yeah, and there's all sorts of different like Section 1B if the season is canceled. There's a whole thing on it.
Yeah, the CBA. That's what I was thinking
CBA,
of.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, the IRA is not getting funded this year or next year.
It is insane, but what I did is I purchased the postseason tickets, and the way it works is I get, with my package, which is a 61-game package, so there's a full season, 81. I'm called a half season, but it's not 41 games. It's 61. And then there's the 20-game package, which is every game I don't have, which are Wednesday, Friday, 120s. Which I don't know anyone that could really go to them that much other than Danny Rocket. So I should just get them and have you buy them. But what ends up happening is, you sit there and you buy it, and then I get all of the wild card, all the division series, and then one less of the World Series and NLCS. So like I have tickets for World Series would be game 2 and 3. I wouldn't have tickets for game 1.
Well, I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Hey,
this year.
It would be mighty surprising if you had an opportunity to go to game 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna hope.
Well, the thing about this team is I can see them actually winning the World Series, or I could see them getting swept out of the wild card series. Like I could see either one of those scenarios. I don't really have a feeling either way. I saw that our friend Cody Del Mendo was talking about, like, he's like, I've never been like so underhyped for a good team, and he's like, it's just not how I thought this would feel. And I think we're all feeling somewhat that way.
But I think it's because I don't know that this is a very unique Cubs team. And I mean, we've all been watching for a very long time. Normally, in the end of the year, they sucked early and they're kind of out of it. And then they have a nice run at the end of the year, and it makes you excited for the next year. This year, we were excellent until the All-Star break. And then it's just been like really mediocre, sort of. It's been that up and down 500 ball. And so it's just like I said, this is a season unlike most that we're used to. And it's like we don't know how to react to that because, yes, they have 83 wins already, which is what they had in the last 2 years. We should be excited. There's still 16 more games. But it's like we had a nice run up to 83 the last 2 years. And this year we just sort of stumbled into 83 and we still have a bunch of time.
And
what you're worried about is what you're worried about is backing into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to back into the postseason. And you never know. Some teams do get hot, and that's all you can kind of cling to right now. I mean, to see what Cade Horton has done has just been unbelievable in the second half. Matt Shaw has improved. But in general, it's just been kind of a season that's just it's just every day you don't know what you're going to get. And this reminds me of when the one run, Danny, we were talking about it this weekend. It's just
run. Yeah,
right.
because
Carol's like, come on.
Yeah, because we're at Johnny Onomatopoeia's bachelor party, which this is where we really wanted to start today, not talking about the boring-ass Cubs, but more talking about how we were not boring-ass people at a boring-ass game because we were there Saturday. Cubs didn't score, lost. But let me just put up some pictures of this bachelor party. Crawley, you were a big part of it. Here's one of the good Ellen selfies of the moment. This is my favorite picture of the day.
You know what pisses me off though? I went up top, and if I would have just stayed right where I was, it would have been even better. I would have been right like behind Jared's shoulder.
Exactly.
For who though, Crawley? For me.
Here's Johnny up on stage having a good time. We're all wearing the same shirt. I got these shirts of Johnny's face printed up. And then
really, those aren't flowers. Those are Johnny's face.
No, you can kind of see in this picture how
it's like
amazing. One of the pictures, Johnny's got a shiner. He's got a big black eye because he got beat up by a guy at 7-Eleven. And
I mean, to be fair, I've known a few people who got beat up at 7-Eleven. I mean, that's kind of a place you go to get your ass kicked a little bit.
It adds up, right? So there we all are on stage. There's Eric Wheelo, Johnny playing keyboards. Here's Johnny and Eric singing in the mic. We played like a middle set of all these cover songs. Let's see. Oh, there's Johnny packing in with the drums at the end of the night. And he was pretty good to go. Let me just put it that way. And we had to kind of sober him up. There he is on top. Look at him singing some song and standing up on top of the booth there. There's me and him. But I sobered him up. I filled him full of Fritos. And he was pretty drunk. And then so I was like, you got to eat something. So I gave him a few pieces of pizza, sobered him up, gave him some water. He kind of came to enough so that we went to go eat this Korean barbecue food, which comes with all these different sides and stuff.
That looks amazing.
Seaweed and spicy peppers and like kimchi and just the craziest stuff. And it was so good. But we just had a freaking blast. There's Johnny in the bleachers. That's a good one. So we just had the best time of a bachelor party. And here's the night before we took him to the casino over at Rivers. We were only going to stop in there for a half hour, just a half hour. Just going to go play a little craps, get out of there, call it a night, live to play another day. We were there till after 4 a.m. And of course, then we had to get everybody up the next morning. Well, I'll tell you. Well, I was up, so I quit drinking. So
did you win? No, did you win anything gambling?
Eric
Wheelo did.
Wheelo won like $600 playing blackjack, but he's a high roller, so he did great though. I was down like $25 at the end of the night, no big deal. I barely played, and I think Johnny was down as well, but. Either way, like Nicole comes to me, it's my wife, and like the next morning, everybody's still conked out, and I'm like getting the gear ready to bring it down to go rock and roll later in the day. It's like 8 a.m. Nicole's like, "Hey, Danny, come here." It's like, I think, and I'm not sure I saw this out of the corner of my eye, but I got up really early. I thought I'd, take a shower really early because I wanted to wash my hair and, but somebody was knocking on the door and they didn't come in. But then when I came out of the shower, I was like, just 1 second, I come out and I think I saw Eric Wheelo peeing in the corner. And so I go the next morning. I was like, just like feeling around for, wetness, on the chair and stuff. Cause he was on an air mattress in the living room. It's where I had him. The pillow, his pillow, or technically my pillow, was all wet. And I was like, dude, I think you pissed the pillow. And he's like, ugh. And he like rolled over, went back to bed. Now I can't prove anything. It's just, Nicole thought she saw what she saw. The pillow was wet, but like, he's like, I think I spilled water. Anyway, I'm like, water. So anyway, we go down, rock and roll we rock and rolled the gig. But, Eric did not show up at the early rehearsal. He barely made it to the game. But we had a great time. But I thought, Crawley, I wanted to have you on because you've got one of the best bachelor parties I've ever heard, bachelor party stories I've ever heard. And Cotton, you actually got kicked out of Wrigley Field on your bachelor party.
I did.
So it's relatable to the Cubs fans. And Crawley, you were at Wrigley too for yours, right?
For my bachelor party? No, we were in downtown Chicago. We were on Rush Street and shit.
All right. Well, you got to tell your story. It's literally, you don't have to tell the whole thing, but you got to tell at least the orange jumpsuit part.
So just so people understand, I was the first of all my friends to get married. I got married pretty early. I was like 23, 24 when I got married. And so like none of us had any idea of what, none of us had been to a bachelor party at this point in time in our lives. All we ever seen was what you're supposed to do in the movies. So we figured that's what we would do. And so my buddies sit there and my buddy picks me up, and it was my brother, actually. My brother drove me to Sedgwick's in the city. And they sit there, and all of a sudden I walk into the bar, and like 4 or 5 of my friends just grab me, rip me into this room, and like take off my clothes and throw this orange prison jumpsuit on me. It is now, I didn't know this, but my buddy's brother-in-law was like a warden or something at Milwaukee County Prison. This is a legit Milwaukee County Prison jumpsuit. Okay. So I'm in this jumpsuit, and of course, like we go into this downstairs thing that we're not going to say everything that happened down there. Well, that's for Sunranto after hours. But then we got
Discord.
Yeah,
there were paddles, goats.
There's all sorts of stuff. But we ended up getting a bus, and we were just out of control that night. Like it was just beyond drunkenness, and like we were going to different bars. There's bar hopping. Somehow someone stole a keg from a bar and put it in the back of the bus. We didn't even have a tapper. One buddy sits there and he gets off the bus and starts jumping on a car at a stoplight. Cops come. They pull me off for no reason just because I have the jumpsuit. And they're like,
oh, of course.
They're like, yeah, if you guys don't stop, your buddy's going to get arrested. Da, da, da. So we ended up at this, I think it was Mother's was the name of the bar. And we go upstairs to Mother's. And my friend, and it's on Rush Street. And my friend is sitting there. And my friend, we used to DJ all over when we were in our early 20s, all over downtown Chicago. And he knew the DJ. And he had told the DJ, hey, my buddy's going to come up because there was like all these girls dancing right like on a certain thing, and it's only supposed to be for girls. And he called the DJ and told him, hey, my buddy's coming. It's his bachelor party. I want him to go dancing up with the girls because usually they wouldn't let guys up there. No one told the bouncer this. So my buddy's like, hey, go dance up on the platform with the girls. So I go out there. I'm like, woo. And then all of a sudden, like a bunch of bouncers just grab me and they pull me down. They're yelling at me. They're going to throw me out. And my buddy is like, no. It's cool. We talked to the DJ, da, 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 da. And so like all of a sudden it happens. So I'm like, geez, okay, I can stay. And so then my buddy's like, okay, you can go up there now again. And I'm like, okay, I go back up there. The bouncers pull me back down. Now all of a sudden they're sitting there and the bouncer's like, we're just tired of you guys. Get the fuck out of this place. You're drunk asses. One of my buddies takes a beer bottle and just crashes it over the bouncer's head. Just boom. Now it's on. It's a literal melee. He throws my buddy down the stairs. This whole bash ends up like rolling onto Rush Street, and there's literally just a complete brawl breaks out. They close down Rush Street. Cops come this way. They have a paddy wagon. They're throwing half my wedding party in the paddy wagon. My brother and one of my best friends.
Okay, hold on. Tell me this wasn't like either the day before or like 2 days before your wedding.
It was like a week before. Like I got married on a Saturday. I got married on a Saturday, and this was on a Friday.
I was just like imagining You're all supposed to be at the church at
the
noon
next day, and you're all in the paddy wagon. Yeah, so it's 8 days before this is going on.
8 days before. So my brother and one of my best friends, you met Jeff, from they just dragged me literally because we are just swinging and they just dragged me like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Like this is getting out of control. Like it is literally like the whole Rush Street is closed down.
Getting out of control.
In the street. It's like
out of control.
Beyond out of control. So they drag me, and whoever is not in the paddy wagon is now back at my friend's place in Lincoln Park. And we wake up in the morning, and I'm just trying to remember everything that happened. It was like the movie The Hangover. I'm just like, what the fuck happened last night? I don't remember half this shit. And I'm still in an Milwaukee County prison jumpsuit. I sit there and I'm trying to wake everybody up. No one's waking up. Everyone's just in bad shape. And because I was looking for my cell phone.
They have all died.
I'm looking for my cell phone, and I'm looking for my clothes, like my actual clothes, because I have nothing but boxers underneath this prison jumpsuit. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like waking everybody up, like, hey, who's got my shit? Who's got my clothes? Who's got my wallet? Like, I have no ID. I have no nothing. Where is it? And then I'm like, shit.
Like so Eric Wheelo.
Right.
It was water.
I'm like, I'm going to just go down to Sedgwick's and pick it up. And this was like on this was on a Saturday, actually. It was a Saturday because I remember, no, it was a Friday, and then there was college football. And so the bar was opening, and I was just going to go there, and I thought that's where my clothes would be, and my ID, and my cell phone, and all this shit. My flip phone, I think, at the time. And so I'm walking to the bar. I'm walking down Lincoln Park in my orange prison county jumpsuit, and the bar's not open just yet. It's like 30 minutes. So I go to the Walgreens it was CVS or whatever. I think it was a Walgreens at the time to just like.
1 second.
Yeah.
You're still in the orange jumpsuit?
Yes,
I
have no clothes.
Where did you wake up?
At my buddy's place. No, at my buddy's place in Lincoln Park.
I would have taken my friend's clothes or something. I would not have gone downtown still in a prison jumpsuit.
I was still drunk.
I don't think he was thinking straight.
True. Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm sitting there and I go to read magazines in the Walgreens until it opens. Because I got nothing, and I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden I sit there, and it's the whatchamacallit, the bar's about to open for Saturday college football game day, whatever. And so I'm walking out of the Walgreens, and this is exactly out of the movies. I'm walking out of the Walgreens, and all of a sudden 6 squads just go like that in formation. They come out, guns drawn, get on the ground, put your hands on your head. I'm looking around for a second, and they're talking to me. So I put my hands on my head. I'm on the ground, and like 3 guys grab me, and they sit there and they throw me up against the squad car, and they start patting me down. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, where's your ID? I'm like, it's in the bar. That's why I'm out here. I'm here to get my ID. It's over at Sedgwick's right over there. And they're like, and I'm like, look, guys, this is all a big mistake, right? My friends is a bachelor party. They brought me this thing, and they're like, we have reports of an escaped criminal. And so all of a sudden there's this cop. He looked like Sipowicz from NYPD Blue. Like, what was his name? That guy. Dennis Franz. I guess he's a captain or something. He's like,
they all look like that.
Right. He's like, you wasted my fucking time. I come down here and this is, you guys think this is fucking funny, you suburban kids? He's all fucking pissed off. And I'm like, all you have to do is just let me go in the bar and get my shit, and I'll show you ID. The sergeant goes, go get this kid a psych eval. They throw me in a squad car, and now they want me to get a psych eval. So I'm driving to the police station, and as we're driving to the police station, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the cops. I'm like, guys, I'm clearly not crazy. This is just a stupid bachelor party hijinks kind of stuff. They're like, look, we're not gonna sit there and argue with the chief. And then so finally, basically, they were trying to get into hold. So I'm in jail. I'm in a prison, the drunk tank, with a guy that was singing Beatles tunes. We actually had a pretty good time together. And then
me?
It was not you. They pull me out of there, and they're sitting there, and they're like, okay, who can we call? Well, so this is, again, cell phones. I don't have anybody's number in my head. I only had my wife's and my mom's and my buddy who was crashed out at his place in Lincoln Park. Nobody's picking up. And so what they tell me, the cops tell me, is that if we don't get a hold of somebody, we have to drive you back to Milwaukee. I'm like, but I wasn't in Milwaukee. They're like, there's nothing we can do. So I'm freaking out. They sit there and they are going to put me in a car to take me to Milwaukee. Mind you, as I'm walking out of the car, I see my buddies coming. They just had gotten released from the fight on Rush Street.
Oh my God.
Now I didn't say anything to them. I just saw them and I'm like, okay. We get in the car and I say, guys, look, everybody's sleeping. We were all at the bachelor parties, this and that. There's nothing. I'm like, here's the thing. My buddy's in Lincoln Park. He lives off Geneva Terrace. Just drive me right there and we'll get this all straightened out. So they said, okay, that sounds better than driving to Milwaukee. So they literally drive me to my buddy's place. They stop the car and then the two cops get out of the car and they go knock on my door. Police knock. Okay. Everyone's still hungover, sleeping on the ground. My buddy sits there and opens the door a little bit and there's two cops. So what does my buddy say?
I don't know.
No habla.
Yeah.
He says to them, you got a warrant.
Oh, well, yeah, because I'm sure after everything that happened the night before, he's assuming they're coming in.
And the cops go, no, we don't have a warrant, but we have your buddy in our back car. And if you don't open the fucking door, we're going to drive him to Milwaukee. And they take a look out the window and I'm in the back of the seat. Please to God. And so they were dying laughing. They literally, they're like, yeah, that's him. Here's what happened last night. Da, 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 da. My stuff was never at Sedgwick's, by the way. It was on the bus that they rented and they left it on the bus. And I had to have someone drive me back to the bus station where they had to completely wash down the bus from all the piss, puke, vomit, and booze and get my clothes, my ID and all that shit. So, and I did have, one of the groomsmen did have a nice shiner and another one had to have a tooth replaced before we got the wedding pics from the wedding party. So that is the true to God story of my bachelor party.
That's the greatest story. I forgot about the taking you back for the psyche valid. I forgot about that part. That was so good.
Like I said, we just thought that this was normal bachelor behavior. And so after all my other friends got married, they're like, we want a bachelor party, but not like Crawley's, like a 5 compared to Crawley's, like a 4. Like we do not want anything like that. So
yeah, ours was a little more tame for Johnny because Joey's pointing out Danny was singing Beatles tunes on Saturday night. Yeah, but it was in my living room, like singing.
You're
like
also 30 years older than Crawley was when he got married.
Yeah, it was the best of times, but sometimes you look back at your life and you're like, how did I survive that? Like when I think of all the things we did just on that night alone, like how did someone not get permanently brain damage or some shit like it? It's the follies of youth, as we like to say, right?
Yeah. Well, some people don't make it through. I know we got people that didn't maybe make it through everything that we did, but
the fact that the worst of that night was a shiner and a lost tooth is a miracle.
Exactly. It really is. It's so funny. Yeah. You could have been these days. You just would have been held off to Alligator Alcatraz and never heard from again.
That little Ecuadorian guy's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you think about those that made it, how about Ronnie Woo Woo? How about 84 years old and literally had a party bus with lights and streamers and everything that took him.
Can I play some of these videos? Because Janet was sending me videos.
Is that how he got to the ballpark the other night?
So,
it was on a party bus?
So the person that owns the Pearl, the rehabilitation center that he's staying at, yeah, he's a big Cub fan, and they got a legit party bus. It was awesome.
Yeah, I got amazing. A few videos of it. Check this out.
All right, okay.
Party bus here.
I have your ticket. I'll just say your name. Thank you.
And then there's
hey,
Ronnie and
how
his
do you
daughter.
feel going to your first game since last year?
I'm back. Come on in.
The game was 1:30.
1:20.
Yeah, there were some non-Cubs fans in there. What time's the game? 1:30? People are like, what are you talking about? It's 1:20.
And Crawley, you were there right when they welcomed him to the ballpark. You were over there, and they had signs for him, And this is him up in the suite. And the Pearl rented him this suite, not only just for him, but for the whole staff at the Pearl. Not the whole staff. They wouldn't need a few suites for that, but for some of the people that are taking care of Ronnie. And that also, well, tell me about what it was like when you showed up and he came to the ball and
So basically what ends up happening is that they're going to drop him off, and they were going to drop him off on Waveland and Clark. And so there's about like 6 or 7 of us that knew that. So we were there. I know Block Club Chicago was there, WGN, and I think ABC. And so he came out, and I guess like it was really just like this, like it looked like a kid on Christmas. If you've ever had little children open up presents, I mean, like the smile on his face when he got off that bus.
That one right there, that picture.
That's a great example. But like, it was almost, they take him outside at the Pearl, but like, look, Janet's doing an amazing job of putting things up and making his room like any of our rooms right here, cubbed up and all that stuff. But it's still, you know what I mean? It's still a rehab center. You've been to these places, they're drab. It's not exactly the most, whatever. But there he was at Wrigley, and the sun was shining and he was just smiling. And so he comes out, and as he comes, we had a bunch of people waiting by the marquee entrance for him to come in, because we told everyone that's where he was going to be, was by he had the suite entrance. You know what I'm talking about, in between the marquee and Gallagher Way. And the more we start walking down the street, the more all of a sudden everyone starts hearing the woo, woo. So I'm kind of like maybe like 20, 30 feet taking video in front of him. And the more people are going like, it's Ronnie, woo, woo, it's Ronnie. It's just, and all of a sudden, the more people started doing that, it literally was like the lifeblood for Ronnie Woo. Like all of a sudden people are like, Ronnie, can I get a picture? Ronnie, can I, what, they're just all just like swarming around him. And it was, for someone that was like feeling, I would say, like, I don't want to say feeling, but just like, he's just not in his element. His element is to be at Wrigley and for people to ask for pictures and, hey, Ronnie, come over here, to not have that for a year. And then all of a sudden you're back, you're home, and you're smiling, and people, it's like you never left. And, yeah, he was in a wheelchair. Yeah, he had to have oxygen. But for one day, Ronnie was back to just being Ronnie. And I think that really meant the world for him. And, just seeing people's faces light up when they saw Ronnie again, it's all of a sudden, you're like, hey, where's Woo? Same thing that happens to Pink Hat Guy every year. They're like, where's Pink Hat Guy?
And then you're like, he died.
He died. Yeah. Well, I killed him one time. And so like, it's one of those things that I just feel like he was just so happy to have that opportunity. And, he, whenever you visit him, Danny, I know you have in the past, whenever he sits there and he's like, look at the letters I got. Like, he shows you the letters and he's so excited. Somebody took the time to write me a letter. Look at this baseball card somebody sent me. Like, it just gives him the greatest amount of joy, And so I think that being able to go to the game and hanging out with fellow Cub fans and, unfortunately, well, the Cubs choked it. So it was the most Cub thing that could potentially happen. They blew it in the 9th. That was
Valencia
the
blew
game.
the save. Yeah.
So,
was that the...
It was the blown save day.
I was wondering if it was the day that he blew his arm out, but no, that was
it was
same day.
Oh, it was that day. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. So,
well, and I got some footage of Ronnie at the game, because according to Janet, he did not stop wooing the entire time. And I do have photographic or video evidence that this is the truth, because here he is at the game.
have to refill that oxygen tank.
Yeah, so exactly. Good. And I have Ronnie. Do I have him going to the? Oh yeah, here he is going down the hallway on the way to the suite, where you could, if you really listen closely, you could hear him wooing in that as well. He did not stop hollering the entire game, and and it was just a beautiful thing. I did have a moment to speak with the director of the Pearl and his daughter Yolanda, and I said, "Hey, thanks for doing this for him. It's a really beautiful gesture. It means a lot to a lot of the Cub fans. And hey, if you ever need a nursing home, I could highly suggest the people at the Pearl who go above and beyond for Cub fans anyway. We don't know if there was a Sox fan, they might have just sent him to glory in a glad bag already.
Yeah, it really was touching, and it was a special day for Ronnie. And you know what? It didn't matter about the winning or losing. It was just, the thing that he kept telling me was, I just want to see grass. I want to eat a hot dog. I want to see baseball. Like that was just like the simplest pleasures, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if we'll be able to get him back there again, but I will say Janet's already working on it because she saw how happy it made him. He actually went to the hospital, I think today or yesterday. He was having some like heart palpitations or something like that. So they went to check him out. So hopefully he does okay. So we do have to go to a commercial break, but I figured before we do that, I want, well, first of all, I want Cotton to share his, it's not quite as epic as Crawley's, but it is Wrigley Field related. Nobody, well, go ahead, tell your story. And then I want everybody, and then I want everybody to tell, because Anthony Rizzo's coming back. So we got Johnny's bachelor party. We got Ronnie coming back. And now we got Anthony Rizzo, who retired, coming back. So I want you to each give your best Rizzo memory, your favorite Anthony Rizzo memory. Bleacher Nation had a great article listing Brett's top 10 that he had. So I'm sure that yours is probably one of those, but
no, mine isn't.
I don't know. I didn't look at. I'll have to check that out.
I read it. It was not one of my top 10 in there.
Okay, mine was there. I'll drop the link to it in the chat. But Cotton, tell me your bachelor party story. Yeah. I gotta hear this again.
So my bachelor party. We went to the Bleachers, just like you did with Johnny. I think there was about 10 or 12 of us, and of course we were up there. We were drinking, having a good time, and there were it was a Cubs-Cardinals game. A couple of Cardinals fans sitting in front of us. We were talking shit, just like having fun talking shit, right? And at one point, a friend of mine stood up and sort of half moon them. Like it wasn't like a full-on moon. It's not like he showed his whole ass. Yeah, he just kind of pulled it. But they were already watching us, and we didn't realize it. And that's all they needed was like, that was it. And security came, and they were going to throw him out, right? And, of course, everybody's arguing with them, like, no, you can't throw him out. And, and then, like, people started chanting, let him stay, let him stay. Like, everybody was really into it, and because, I mean, he didn't do anything. And the people that he did it to didn't care either. They thought it was funny. But then we're standing there and we're arguing and stuff. And then one of my friends just decided it's just not going to happen. They're going to throw him out. And and I feel much worse about this now that I actually have met some of the security people and the people that work at Wrigley, and I know how nice they are. He threw a beer directly in this dude's face. And as the moment, like, we're all arguing that we should stay. And then this beer comes in, hits the security guy, and immediately we're like, all right, we're leaving. Everybody leaving. We're going. And the whole crowd changed from let him stay to throw them out. Like, they were just like, fuck these guys. But there were so many of us, and they didn't know what was happening. I found out the next day they delayed the start of the inning because of stuff going on in the bleachers. And we didn't know, but like Sammy didn't go out he was out on the infield and not going all the way out until they got everybody out of there. No idea. But the funniest part, I think, is that when we're walking out, there's like 10 or 12 of us, right? And we're going in this big line. But there's security at the front. There's security at the back. In the middle, it's just a bunch of people in a line walking up the stairs. And this was old school Wrigley. So somebody gets out, and they just end up in the line with us. And when we get to the top of the stairs, these stairs are actually there for everyone to use now, but back then they were special stairs if you're getting thrown out, and they were like, go, go, go. And they made us all go down these stairs that we could never go down before. And we get down underneath, and it's like a garage. There's nothing down there, and there's a garage door, and they open it, not even like high enough for anybody to walk out, but just like a little bit, and they're like, everybody out. And so people start to go out, and then all of a sudden, this one random dude, nobody knows who he is, like, oh, wait, I just have to go to the bathroom. Because there were so many of us walking out of there, he just got in the line and followed everybody down the stairs and thought we were all going to the bathroom. He freaked out thinking he's about to get thrown out, but we were all like,
did you vouch for him?
Yeah, we all vouched for him. We're like, we don't know who this guy is. I don't know what happened. How the hell he
Should have been. He's the ringleader. He's the one that put us up to everything. Throw him out.
But it was amazing. It was hilarious. And security let that guy go back up. You know, I'm sure he went back to his friends and just like, you'll never believe what happened. but yeah, we all got tossed in like the 8th inning. And then we went over to Murphy's and we watched. It was perfect timing because we go over to Murphy's and we get there before the whole crowd. So we all had spots to go and we hung out and continued to get drunk enough that nothing else happened after the game except for drunk people being dragged back to the hotel room where everybody passed out around like 7 p.m. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that is not the orange jumpsuit story.
No,
but
no.
You're right, though. The best part is the guy that almost gets kicked out because he was accidentally in the line with you. All right. Well, what's everybody? We're gonna go to break, but and give us to us in the chat too, along with your hashtag chances. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the show.
Let's do it when we come out of the break.
Well, but Crawley is gonna go. So give me your.
Okay.
Give me your favorite Rizzo story because you said yours is not in the Brett Taylor top 10.
Yeah, Brett does a great job looking at this. There's so many. I would say I would kind of maybe put them in a somewhat different order, but I guess the one for me that is more personal, I would say, obviously the final out is the biggest. Everyone, I mean, I have the pictures, I have the bobblehead. I mean, like that iconic moment is never forgotten.
He was up to the challenge.
2015 for me was a very tough year. I was going through a lot of stuff. I had some work-related issues, and my dad had some health-related issues. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer and had surgery, and it was just a tough-ass year. And it was, if you remember 2015, the Cubs went on an amazing run that year to get into the wild card. It came down to the very end. So, like, it just felt like when I was at a really low point in my life, like the Cubs were kind of bringing me up. And what I remember more than anything is that, you know, my dad and I were sitting there, and it was, you know, my dad and I were at 2007 and watched the Diamondbacks sweep the Cubs in 2007. In 2008, we were at games 1 and 2 against the Dodgers, watch them get their ass kicked. Just awful. Hadn't been in a postseason since then. And in 2015, if you remember, the Cubs' first opponent is the Cardinals.
In 2015.
Yeah, you're playing the Cardinals.
Yeah, after the Pirates, yeah.
After the Pirates, yeah, it's the first one back at Wrigley. And so, you know, when we get to the clinching game, you know, it was just unbelievable. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. And what I remember out of that one more than anything is, you know, my dad and I just sitting there and, you know, with his health, it was real touchy. It was real touchy. And you know, we grew up, my dad, you know, watching the Cardinals always beat the Cubs, never the Cubs beating the Cardinals other than 84. You know, you remember the Sandberg game, but here you are in the postseason for the first time in history, and the Cubs are just launching the ball. I think that was the one where they hit 6 home runs in the game. Just the ball just flying out.
Is that the Schwarber game?
Yeah.
Wait,
and so,
Cotton, we were at that game with Lyle, right? Was that the game we were at?
No, the Schwarber game and the 6 home runs by 6 different players are 2 separate games.
Yeah.
Okay. So
because when we went with Lyle, Danny, we were trying to see if the ball was up there. Like we were talking because we were way over in that corner.
Home run game, but we saw the scoreboard ball.
We were trying to look to see the ball up there. Yeah.
So I think, but I think the clincher was the 6 home run game, right? Someone in the chat figured out.
Yeah.
Either way, the Cubs finally win. My dad and I literally embrace, and we are just in tears. And then eventually my dad's like, I'm going to go home. Be safe tonight. I don't want to know what you do. He already kind of knew how that was going to end up. And so my dad left, and I went downstairs, and we all kind of rushed right along kind of the very first row. Like where Carol Haddon sits by the Cubs dugout. Mm-hmm. Like everybody, like a bunch of people, we all just like rushed down there, and like the guards were not doing anything. And the players came out, and they were shaking everybody's hands, like they'd come and slap your hands and high-fiving it. And then what I remember is Rizzo with the goggles on. He was on the Cubs dugout spraying us with champagne. And just the joy on his face, the joy in our faces, like that'll be something that'll stick with me. Like he was probably about 15 feet from like where I was, and just literally like I'm doused in champagne. I didn't sleep all night, and I had to go to jury duty and at the Daily Center that next day. I almost got arrested for contempt of court
for skipping out on the summons.
No, I went to the summons, and I was passing out during the whole thing. I kept falling asleep on people and stuff like that, and the judge was absolutely livid, but it was worth it.
How about you, Cotton? What's your favorite? Or you want to do it after the break and let people have a chance to?
Yeah,
I do it after the break.
I think we come back after the break. We can read
other people's
in the chat, and you and I can talk about ours.
Sweet. Well, Crawley, thanks for coming by and sharing that incredible bachelor party story. It's the reason why I've never had a bachelor party, because I know that I wouldn't survive it, because especially with the two of you, because you guys would probably both be at it.
Well, it's a different story now. I mean, even when I did it, mine was a bit tamer, and was, seeing as everybody was passed out by like 7 or 8 p.m.
Well, we'll be right back after this break. Please support us at patreon.com.
Good to see you, Crawley.
Spagog. Good to see everyone.
The Bleacher Bunch brings you great shows like Sun Ranto, Cubs PS Plus, Bricks Behind the Ivy, Cuppa Cubby Blue, and Baseball Rabbit Hole. But you could be getting so much more when you subscribe to our Patreon page for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/BleacherBunch. Get access to our exclusive daily show Cubs Pod, where we recap every single game. Plus, be the first to hear Cubs music, get early access to events, and receive an invitation to join our Discord Cubs community, where fans just like you show up every day to rant and rave about our beloved boys in blue. Most importantly, 10% of your Patreon pledge will go directly to help the Lost Boys Youth Baseball program. So join us. There are perks at every level, like the Renter Calendar, absolutely free, and name recognition for you or your business. We are independent Cubs podcasters, and we need your support. Otherwise, we'll quit. Seriously, we'll all quit. Some of us might even die from your lack of support. In fact, the cutest little puppy you've ever seen will die if you don't support the Bleacher Bunch at patreon.com/BleacherBunch. We promise to spend all the Patreon money on tickets and beer and all the dung crap we have to buy just to keep our podcast rolling. So give us your money, and we'll waste it far better than you will. Patreon.com/BleacherBunch. Free trials are available, but don't do a free trial. Just join, okay? Okay. Patreon.com/BleacherBunch.
In the clutch. Buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Take it from the Bleacher Bunch. You'll love the shirts from In the Clutch.
In the Clutch.
Clutch shirts are comfortable, stylish, and guaranteed to get you laid. Plus, they're proud sponsors of the Bleacher Bunch. Use promo code Bleacher Bunch for 10% off your purchase.
Nice to feel and soft to touch. That's why you will get laid so much. Wearing a shirt from In the Clutch. And you can thank the Bleacher Bunch. In the Clutch, in the Clutch. Buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Remember the code Bleacher Bunch. Save 10% at In the Clutch. In the Clutch. In the Clutch.
In the Clutch shirts actually not really guaranteed to get you laid.
We're back.
Right.
And not only are we back, but I believe Mike Waller is going to join us in a second. Whenever he's ready, he can allow himself into the room. I don't know if he's ready yet, but Rizzo. Oh, there he is. Hey, Mike
Hello.
Waller. How are you? I'm glad you could join us tonight. You're bunching out the Bleacher Bunch. Otherwise, it's the Bleacher Duo, which doesn't have the same alliteration.
I got some stuff done. I figured I could jump on when Crawley left. So
Nice.
here I am.
You just admit it. You don't like Crawley. You don't want to do a show with Crawley. You don't want to see Crawley.
I'm afraid to go on a bus with Crawley. I'll say that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get on a bus with that guy either.
He's got to be the greatest party. He might be one of the greatest partiers I ever have met. Certainly.
I can see that.
Some of the best stories. He's like the Forrest Gump of drunkenness. It's
Yeah.
really just some of the scrapes that guy gets into. It's just wild. All right. Well, we were just going to say what our favorite Anthony Rizzo memory is, and please put yours in the chat. I'll start with the chat one. Tom Cooper says Rizzo's reaction to Zobrist's hit in Game 7 of the World Series. Is that the glass case of emotions?
No,
or that's
the glass case
like
of emotions. Yeah, glass case of emotions was earlier in the game. Yeah, that was like maybe the 6th or 7th inning. And I will say that glass case of emotions was when I'm thinking of all the different Rizzo moments that I love. That was one. I'm like, is that the one that I want to say? Because glass case of emotions was the perfect thing right then. Like, we were all a mess. And to know that Rizzo was going through that too, and that he had the wherewithal to like say that to David Ross, like, that was amazing. Like, it was just like knowing that he was there too in that same sort of mind frame was amazing. But he was also going out and playing and actually, able to, help
perform.
win
He
that
caught
game.
the last out.
Yeah, it's amazing. So if you really think about it, it's like how you felt that night. Now go play baseball while feeling like that, and Rizzo was able to overcome that. I was amazed. But
That whole team was very human. What's your favorite memory, Michael?
Well, like I said, I was kind of coming up with that, and I saw the tarp catches are on Brett Taylor's list. I love the tarp catches, but I just recently, maybe a few weeks ago, I came across a few times when the other players were like fucking with him, and I remember that pre-championship caliber sort of team, or maybe like 2014, 2015. And there was the Starlin Castro, and this is maybe my favorite Starlin Castro memory, but the Starlin Castro shadow play. So balls hit to Bryant. Bryant picks it up, sets his feet, and throws. But right next to him, maybe 10, 12 feet away, Starlin Castro does the exact same
I remember
movements and throws. So Rizzo's getting this ball chucked at him in the middle of the game. Guys running down the field. He catches it for the out. And I remember him like, what the? Like, he was so pissed at Starlin because he honestly didn't know where that ball was coming from, because it's like you're watching Bryant do it, But then you see Starlin doing it, and you have to have at least a split second in your mind. What am I about to get 2 balls thrown at me?
Rizzo always wore his emotions on his sleeves. No matter what happened, you could tell if he was happy or sad or or in pain. How about you, Mike?
So mine is definitely in there. There's so many great moments, but some of those interactions with Freddie Freeman are up there. But my number one, I was going to do this Cubs pod last offseason, the Cubs pod in history. And it's from that stretch. It's the first tarp catch. So that game, that weekend series, the Cubs were red hot. It's August of 2015. And the Cubs were just hotter than shit. And I took my kids to their first games at Wrigley Field. We went to that whole Brewers series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Cubs swept. And the first tarp catch game, my parents came out and joined us for Saturday's game. It wound up being a Miguel Montero walk-off. And watching that tarp catch, that was the first weekend I was at Wrigley Field with my kids, and it was the last time I was at Wrigley Field with my parents. Wow! I'll just remember that one forever. It was just such a special time, and that play popped. I mean, in the moment, you're like, "What the hell is that even legal?"
Yeah. And, now it's not.
It's not anymore because of that. Actually, here's the amazing thing about that tarp catch too. It's not necessarily because of that one, but 1 year later, again, against the Brewers, Rizzo made another tarp catch. Almost a carbon copy of that one. He jumped up on the tarp and made the catch good. And it's like, it's insane that he did it to the Brewers 2 separate times, and then I think
we used to play him a lot more though too. So it was like 10% of your
as far as I
against
know,
him.
He's only done it twice.
What? And that was the thing that impressed me the most. I mean, it was fun to watch, but like, he's not a guy you thought about as super athletic or whatever. But to be tracking a ball that direction from first base, you're running kind of half backwards, tracking backwards, and to be able to get your foot up and get on there without falling into the brick wall is incredible.
Yeah. And the fact that he was the only one to think to do it out of all those years, it just like,
it's so Rizzo.
And you've got it. It's him because he had that personality that was willing to try things, but it's also a lot of the way that Joe Madden ran that team. He had a lot of guys thinking in those ways. Or like, hey, let's just figure out what we can do. And in that way, like one of my favorite Rizzo moments is also there's Joey's is one of my favorites is that when he went to go fight the Reds bench. I was actually I was at this game, and my favorite part. That's like a sleeper moment in this game is John Baker pimping a walk against the Aroldis Chapman. He gives it like, yes, because he gets on base. And but yeah, it just showed a lot of guts in that, Cubs were frustrated and Anthony Rizzo was willing to stick it for the whole team and not let Aroldis Chapman, who ended up being their teammate in just 2 years later. And having to go all the way through run the whole gauntlet with a guy who they had beef with just a few years earlier. But that happens a lot of times in baseball, especially in sports, where you have beef with a guy and then you end up on his team. But my favorite moment is also in the article, which is when Rizzo came back with that black and blue looking ankle. Remember, and he hit that home run. Like I would have sworn that after he hit that home run, it was like the natural when he's like bleeding, going around the bases, and when it felt like Rizzo had no business being on that field if he ever wanted to walk again, let alone play baseball, because his ankle looked like it came straight off a meat hook. It was hanging in a refrigerated truck. Like that thing was freaking gnarly. And he came back and just showed a lot of guts. I got to do a commercial with him one time and shake his hand at spring training. I was looking for the commercial. I cannot find it. It's a Nivea commercial. He was doing he did a lot of ads, Buena Beef. He did he did this Nivea. I think it was Nivea. Anyway, I end up in it at the very end. It's like this 3-minute long promo or something talking about our routines. But nice guy and down to earth and treated everybody the same. His dad used to hang out at the Club 400 tent a lot. He would get freaking drunk. I don't know. Anthony Rizzo's dad is like a short little Italian man. He looks like Super Mario. And I'm like, how did these genetics get in this giant meat hook man? It was just incredible. So, but Rizzo, I got to say, with the fact that this team has a 40-year-old first baseman and a 39-year-old first baseman that they are currently rostering, and the fact that they can't find a place for Anthony Rizzo on this team is just malpractice. It's baseball malpractice.
You also have Santana bats lefty. So I get the platoon thing with Justin Turner, maybe, I guess, but why Santana? Why not?
Lil Yumper had another Rizzo moment, and his was like mine. It was when Yumper says when Rizzo goes out to the mound and he's talking shit to Justin Wilson on the mound.
I pulled a picture of that. Like I have the screenshot of Justin Wilson telling him to shut up.
Yeah, he says shut up. That was hilarious. I remember another time when Rizzo was going back to catch a ball, pop fly, easy ball to first base, and Javi ran up right next to his face and just stood there, and stared at him while he was catching the ball. And then when Wilson Contreras would come out on a drop third strike, he would take his steps out, and then he would fire the ball to Rizzo at about 1,000 miles per hour. And Rizzo caught the ball and got pissed, and it was like the third out of the innings. He catches the ball and throws it right back at Contreras because he was like angry. Like, that he's been telling Wilson Contreras over and over, like, dude, you do not have to throw it that hard. and Contreras has a massive arm, and to be like, whatever, after he comes out from behind the plate and everything, 88 feet from him and launching that ball. Yeah. But those were some of my favorite with Rizzo. And a lot of it was kind of his interactions with his teammates, because those teams back then, and this, I will say, I get a little sad when I look back at these teams, because I see the players and I see that they're having fun, and I see that they're doing some of these kind of funny, goofy things on the field with each other.
Brizzo Souvenir Company, and not just on the field, and they're making fun videos. They're having a good time together. You see that they sorry, I didn't mean to put that up. You see that they really love each other. As a team, they play well together. This team that we have now, it does not have that kind of personality. That's for sure. And let's talk a little bit about the baseball. We don't have to talk much about that Brave series, but the real story of the whole thing is Tucker finally goes to the IL. Dr. Nick sent him there. Hi, everybody. I mean, oh my God. I mean, what? And they lost 3 days of backdating, which we totally predicted on the show. We're like, they're gonna screw this up, and they did screw it up, just like we said they would.
And the 3 days makes it so easy, because you get three. Like, if Tucker's really going to miss 4 days, fine. I'd rather him not go on the IL. But use your 3 days, and then they kept saying, "Oh, he could play tomorrow," but now it's just so dumb.
But he didn't.
I don't get it.
And here's the thing: like, Danny, you're like, "Oh, we predicted it." We didn't necessarily predict it as much as we just know what they're doing after years of doing the same stuff over and over. Like, honestly, somebody out there could probably go chat GPT. What does Sunranto think about the Cubs in the IL? And they would probably get a dozen different episodes where we're bitching about the fact that they either didn't put somebody on the IL or they did it too late.
Yeah. Or don't remember back when you could cheat with the IL, and all these teams were like cheating with fake IL.
Yeah.
And we would be like, why don't the Cubs use the IL? Like they won't do it. Like, oh no, we're gonna be above the board about it. And they never would do the things that the other teams were doing, and then they'd lose. Who was it? Chris Coughlin or somebody like that.
Yeah,
They lost.
It is one of the most infuriating things because that's just simple decision making. That's leadership. That's just saying, you know what? This guy is hurt right now. So instead of having one less player on the bench that we can use, we're just going to send him to the IL so that we can call somebody up. Like, that seems easy. Anybody can do that. And yet these guys over and over. Okay, you do it once, sure, maybe twice. Like, you kind of mess this up over and over and year after year after year. Like, at some point, somebody has to just like look at the Cubs and just,
who would? They all like it this way. It's the process.
I just don't
understand.
understand.
The binder.
I don't understand how Tom Ricketts isn't calling these guys up going, what are you doing? It doesn't cost me any different money. Just
but it does in the future. If they start the clock on some of these minor league guys, it'll cost him money in the future.
Well, I'm just talking about guys who've already even been up. You know, it's like that's what they're there for. I mean, is to call them up so that you can use them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's insane.
Yeah, and they didn't bring Casey back up, but they did bring Moises Ballesteros up to sit on the bench.
So I was laughing the other day, Cotton. I know you and I've gotten into it a couple times where like you'll be ranting about something, and I'll be like, "Well, it's just what they do," and you'll say, "I'm going to rail on it anyway." Yeah. And then the other day, I found myself railing about the DL and starting Willie Castro every day, and I was like, "It's just what they do," and I'm doing exactly what I make fun of Cotton for doing.
Well,
so, I'm the hypocrite.
Willie's coming around. Willie's gonna come around eventually, right?
Mike,
we'll
you have no idea. I'm sitting there listening to that Cubs pod and just smiling ear to ear. I'm like, yes. And it happened maybe 3 weeks ago too, where I got into a game chat and I saw you were just you were pissed about something and you were just going off, and I was like, oh, this is just the sweetest music to my ears ever is Mike Waller going off about something, because you're the even keel. You're the guy that knows he could be upset, decides not to. Uh-huh. And the fact that you're at the point, finally, you're just like, fuck these guys.
What are they doing?
This team is killing me.
Yeah. Well,
I've never agreed with Cotton more than I have in the last 3 weeks.
Well, the thing that's really been frustrating is like, even though the Cubs took 2 or 3 and seemingly won the middle game by a larger amount, like 6-1 was the final of that one. But that game was tight the entire way through. Like it was 2-1 the entire time till the 8th. And then they finally put up some runs with like, it was the combination of taking walks and then getting a big single, which they misplayed the ball from Matt Shaw, and it scored everybody. Finally kind of blew the game open enough to win it. But the 3-2 game where Tyone came back and pitched well, not long into the game, but he came back and he pitched okay. And then Kittredge ended up closing it because Palencia is hurt. So it's going to be closer by committee, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, and they used Hodge earlier in that game, and it was
matchups.
It was matchups, but Hodge and Waller, I think you talked about this too. When I saw Hodge come back, first off, I was like, oh, I totally forgot this guy was even on the team.
Yes.
But then also, what I have seen the couple of times I've seen, he's got a lot of movement. And the velocity seems there. Like, this is kind of the Hodge that we were always.
He was the closer at the end of last year, if you recall.
Yeah,
and he was great.
Yeah,
he's been looking great. this
So-
season, or am I missing something?
No, so I think what happened is he started off the season okay, and then he had the injury, so he wasn't super effective because he was hurt and went on the shelf. Came back. I think something got into his head because he wasn't quite right, and I think that's why the injury still wasn't right because he went back on the injured list. But then he spent a good long spell in Iowa, and I think that was mental, getting his approach and confidence back. But when I've seen him pitch, the stuff is there. Like his slider is nasty.
Oh,
That thing's just
ball
tight in the
is-
zone and you can't hit it. And he's pumping 96, 97.
Yep.
And if he has that confidence back and gets that swagger he was carrying at the end of last year, it's a really nice bullpen ad for the last month and
And
potentially
then you
playoffs.
have options. You have options
Yeah.
at the back end, which is great. And you're going to need it because if you're not going to score any runs, these are all going to be tight games, And they really didn't. They came in really anemically. They only scored 1 run for Imanaga, who ended up taking the loss after giving up 3 runs in the first inning. So that game was over just like right away.
Yeah.
And they struck out a lot in this series. They struck out 8 times against Spencer Strider, and they
Chris
struck
Sale
nine-
struck out 9.
yeah, not in like 5 innings.
Yeah.
What?
It wasn't even-
I think his first 8 outs were strikeouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first 8 outs were strikeouts. They were getting nobody out if they put the ball in play.
Hap struck out 4 times in that game.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just like, but they won it, so there was 3-2. So these games are all really too tight, and the Braves, they got good players, they really do. Like I don't know why they fell apart. I mean, I know the injuries set them back.
They were decimated by injuries early this season. I mean, just absolutely tons of their guys were on the shelf.
Well, and not to totally derail the conversation, but like some of those playoff things with the expansion and dividing the teams up. I saw somebody out there had to like win the first half, win the second half to qualify for the playoffs. Like that could make a team like the Braves all of a sudden very interesting because maybe instead of just kind of languishing through the season because were so crushed early, they could kind of gear up and add pieces to the really talented guys they already have and go hard in the second half, go hard over the last 6 weeks and see if they could make a run.
They had been playing better.
And if we were looking at that sort of a situation, we would have the Cubs as the first half Central Division champs, and then the Brewers would be the second half Central Division champs. That's how that would set up because the Cubs were just so good early in the season. And that's, kind of what we were talking about with Crawley is it's such a weird season for us because they're limping at the end and they're already at 83 wins.
It's not even limping. They're basically playing like the team we're about to play, which is the Rays, which is just a 500 ball club, which is okay. They got some good things going on. They got some holes, they're just okay.
And that's something. Oh, finish your point, Cotton.
Oh, well, no, I was just going to say another thing I thought about when Crawley was talking about the wild card and with his dad and stuff. That's one thing that's sort of missing with this season too, why it's so boring right now. When they expanded to the postseason tournament instead of actual like real playoffs with a wild card, we would be actually having fun right now. Like they would be battling to stay in that wild card, and then we would be getting a 1-game play for everything, right? And it would be somewhat interesting. But the way it is, they are so far ahead that they can't lose out of the wild card. Now, they possibly could lose home field. That is still a possibility because they're only like 2 or 3 games above the Padres. But
they're actually looks like 4 games above the Padres now.
Oh, okay. 4
The
games.
Padres are 3-7 in their last 10. Talk about limping. That's limping in.
Yeah. But imagine if that's what we were working with right now. We had the 3 division winners, and then we had the Cubs trying to hold off the Padres versus the Cubs are so far ahead of the Mets that we don't even think about the Mets, even though they're coming up. Like, we're not even worried about them.
Well, it's not even the Mets. Like it's the next one out. Like they're not
Reds.
like 8 games ahead of the Reds.
Like
9 games ahead of the Reds
yeah,
now. So
So if we only had a 4-game cushion for the wild card, this might be actually somewhat interesting. But because we've got basically 17 games, like who gives a shit? Like nobody cares. It's boring. They're just playing out the end of the season because they have to.
This whole last month, yeah. But there are some interesting games because we do face the Mets, and the Mets are fighting for dear life. They're 76 and 71. The Reds are only a game and a half out right now because the Mets have played 3-7 baseball, and the Reds are 6-4. So they were.
Mets have lost 6 in a row.
Who did? The Mets?
The Mets have lost 6 in a row.
And then you got the Giants also with the exact same record. I don't know who holds the tiebreakers and stuff like that. I could look all that up. It's really not worth looking until
Not now. I mean, we
not
still got
yet. Yeah.
Still got 18 games.
I mean, if this affected the Cubs, we would have already looked. But I'm like,
if this affected the Cubs, we'd know every scenario.
But even the St. Louis freaking Cardinals are only 4 games out right now because of all this crap, and they've lost 3 straight. Now they've got to, jump over a couple teams, but there's a couple teams fighting to get into those last 2 spots now. And frankly, the Mets are looking like they just don't have the juice. I don't know. That's the Padres too, limping in.
Well, and I will say, listening to Billy on the new Nasty Boys podcast, the Reds have been kind of struggling themselves. Like, imagine if the Reds were actually having a good month here, they might already be one of the top 3 or how do you say it? One of the wild card teams. I don't even know how to say this garbage that we're dealing with.
Yeah, they might qualify for the tournament.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been pointing out in CubsPod a lot, that this is such a weird season because it really has felt like, especially the last 6 weeks, 2 months, it's felt like the Cubs are playing legitimately bad baseball, like they're doing poorly. And the reality is they kind of are compared to what they were doing before, but they've avoided the long stretches. I mean, the Dodgers went through a stretch where they were absolute garbage for 20, 25 games.
Yeah.
Padres can't get it together. The Mets are a mess. And all these games I was frustrated doing CubsPod, and then I would go to the standings and be like, well, they're within other than the Brewers, they're within like a game of every other division leader. And the Cubs are right now 1 game worse than the Blue Jays and the Tigers. And they have a better record than the Astros and the Dodgers.
Longest losing streak is 3 games. That's
and they've only done it 4 times.
Yeah, and longest winning, but they're not really a winning streakish team either. They got 5. Is their longest
5 games one time?
Yeah, they did it one time. They went on 5 games, and outside of that, I think they had 4 games twice, and then the rest have been 3 games because I don't think you can call 2 games a streak, right?
Well, but in order to win the World Series, you need to have a 2-game streak, then
another 2-game streak.
Well, then a 3-game streak, and then a 4-game streak, and then another 4-game streak, and then you win the World Series. You can lose a game. You can lose the first game of every single series and just be just fine. In fact, you'll be dominating.
It's funny that you say that because it just reminded me the whole first half. The Cubs never lost a first game of a series until like mid-June.
Yeah, but they lost a lot of the last game of the series. It's that Sunday curse. So as long as there's no playoff games on Sunday, we should be okay. But there are some games. So for whatever reason, the Cubs are coming in for 3 games. 3, just to welcome Rizzo home. Give away a Bill Murray bobblehead, I think. Is that this weekend or some other weekend? I think it's this weekend.
Yeah, I think it is.
But
3
games set, and then they leave again. It's the dumbschedule.com. And
and we just got done playing Atlanta. We played them 6 out of 9 games, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the entire season against them. Like, why would anybody ever look at that on a schedule and think, looks good. Looks right.
Yeah, it's and why the hell we're playing the Rays at all, I don't even know. I could care less about this series except for the fact that Rizzo's coming back because we're so far ahead in the wild card, so none of this matters at all, except for maybe playing for home field advantage. I guess we should win. It'd be fun to sing some "Go Cubs Go." Tom asks, "Will there be an unofficial ranter meetup?" I got to work, so I'll try to get down there at some point, but I'm not going to the game, or maybe I'm going to the game. I have no ticket. I got no plan, Tom. So look me up when I'm down there. Maybe we'll hang out by the mob shrine and have a pop. But the Rays they're an okay team. They're a 500 ball club. They're 3 under on the road. They've been playing okay. They're 5-4 in September. They were a 7-17 July killed them. They ran into some bad baseball.
But didn't they have to play I don't know, the entire month of July on the road or something, because of their whole stadium issue, right? Because they're not playing at the Trop. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they're playing at the Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, they're playing at Yankee Stadium outdoors, and so they front loaded a bunch of their early games so it wouldn't be so hot, and then they had to go spend most of the summer on the road. Honestly, this team being 500 is kind of good for what you could have, predicted that they would have to deal with this year.
They're pretty average. Obviously, their record's average. Their offense is average. Their pitching is average in almost all stats, except for the fact that they will steal a lot of bases. They have stolen more bases than anybody in the major leagues. But the Cubs are good at controlling the running game. So, let's see who wins that little battle this weekend. And also the pitching, their bullpen over the year has the 8th best ERA, but they have been giving up the long ball. They don't walk many hitters, but they do strike you out. So they got a decent bullpen. They do. Yeah. So try to be winning by the time you get to it.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to say, Guy Sirius pops in here, says the Bill Murray bobblehead is the first bobblehead I've ever wanted. I must be getting lamer. And I want you to understand, yes, you are getting lamer. And that is maybe not the first thing that told us that. But
what day is that? I'm trying. That is Sunday. Sunday is the Bill. It doesn't really look like him. I'll show a picture of it. I don't know if this was what
he's holding like a beer bat. It's just an advertisement for a $35 16-ounce beer.
Yeah, and that's Sunday. There's a Seiya Suzuki bobblehead on Saturday, I guess.
By the way, that reminds me, when I went out to Seattle. Oh yeah, that actually kind of looks
Murray.
Like Tom Ricketts.
Yeah, that is that. That's they were gonna do a Tom Ricketts bobblehead, but Tom didn't like the way it looked, so they're like, let's just pretend it's Bill Murray and put a different name on it.
They found out nobody wanted a Tom Ricketts bobblehead, and they're like, just call it Bill Murray. All the white dudes look the same. It doesn't matter. But
we haven't sold any tickets for September 14th. Well, it's because it's Tom Ricketts bobblehead day. Wow, change it to Bill Murray. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but no. So it made me think that beer bat. When I was in Seattle at T-Mobile, they sold their fancy bat. It's a Trident beer cup thing. So their logo. But that Trident you can buy with no liquid in it. So no alcohol. No sodas, whatever. Just buy the cup by itself for like $15. And then once you get it, then you can, so like kids can go and buy that. You can buy it for your kids and then they can go fill it up for soda for free. Because at T-Mobile, when you buy a soda.
What is that?
Yeah. Tom Ricketts is like, what?
Yeah. When you buy a soda at T-Mobile, they just give you a cup and you go and you fill up for the rest of the game as much as you want. And if you want to buy the Trident for $15, then you can take that and fill it up for free the rest of the game as well. Like
Oh, that ain't happening at Wrigley.
But it's just one of those things where we love Wrigley Field, and it's amazing to be there and the feel and everything that happens there. And then you go to another ballpark and you're like, well, they do kind of fuck us on the pop.
Yeah. No, they screw you at everything.
And on the beers and on the special cups. Like, this is insane.
Because people pay it.
Yeah. And you're going to a ball game to watch a ball game, not to sit around and drink out of novelty cups. you know what I mean? So it's like a children. It's like a sippy cup for adults, for Christ's sake.
It really is.
Grow up. So it's
but I would totally buy my kid
a Trident. I would do though.
I'd give my kid a $15 beer bat if I knew that they could get sodas the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, no, that would be a deal. They're not doing that. So I did want to bring up just one defensive stat about the Rays coming to town is that they have committed 69 errors this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, but they're not a bad defensive team. They're pretty good. And then the matchups, I was so excited because it was going along and I'm like clicking through the games. First game, guy named Baz, B-A-Z.
Yeah.
He's a first round pick he was first round pick by the Pittsburgh Pirates. So he's got some pedigree, but he hasn't really shown up in the major leagues. He's got a 494 this year, but it's Baz versus Boyd. And I'm like, ooh, I like that. Baz versus Boyd.
So well timed. I was looking at the pitching matchups and I'm going to share his horrendous facial hair.
Oh, I know. I was going to bring this up.
Oh, I talked about this on the Cubs pod today. It's one of the worst pictures I've ever seen for a ball player to be putting up on the board.
So he's got a pretty deep tan, but a very blonde mustache. So it just really sticks out in an odd way.
My first thought seeing it small was that, like, I think he's young, but is he old? And no, he's 26.
No,
so he's clearly like bleaching it or whatever, but
well,
that's an ugly man right there.
Well, but also his eyes seem, and it's when you look at it closer and it's bigger, they don't seem quite so wide. But when I was looking at it today, it looks like his eyes are open really wide, like he's surprised that somebody took his picture.
Yeah, maybe wasn't expecting, or either that, or maybe the flash of the camera is reflecting off his mustache and really just, But I got to tell you the story about this girl that was in. She was a senior when I was a freshman, and we were all in the choir. And this girl, she was a blonde girl, but she had like a mustache. Like, this girl had, just was a woman who had a little bit of a mustache. So anyway, right before graduation, when she was a senior, she decides that not only is she going to go to the tanning bed before graduation, but she's also going to bleach that mustache of hers so nobody can see it. But it was the exact opposite. In fact, that freaking mustache showed up just like Shane Baz's mustache, which was just this big blonde mustache on her face with her tanning bed tan. It was like one of those things that we all enjoyed and tried not to giggle too much because we were freshmen and she was a senior and we didn't want to get her ass kicked by one of the boys that would stand up for her. But I always remember that. And Shane Baz immediately reminded me of Julia that day.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
that is a sad story.
We had Baz versus Boyd. Then we get more alliteration. Rasmussen versus Ray. And I was like, ooh.
Okay, so I'm thinking Baz Luhrmann,
Yeah.
That
his
does
last name, though, Shane Baz.
Movies. And then you're like Rasmussen, and I feel like that's the guy that the Russian Tsar lost his daughter to.
Rasputin, yeah.
Oh, Rasputin, my bad.
So, and then I was like, oh, please, on this last game, be another alliterative outing matchup. So it's Hauser versus Imanaga. And I I why is it not Horton?
Yeah. Oh, that would
Hauser Horton would have made my life, but it's Imanaga. So anyway, all those pitchers except for Baz, who has a good pedigree, is having a good year. Drew Rasmussen's pretty good, and Adrian Hauser has a 3.11 ERA. So I don't know why we didn't get him, but we could have had. He's like a Craig Council special. We could have had him. Yeah. He's like the Drew Pomerances of Adrian Hauser's. So there's your matchups, but you can listen to the three of us do Cubs Pod all about it. I think I've got the next one, right? I've got,
as long as I remember to do it.
Yeah, Danny, you got the next. I did the one today for that last game, and I did talk about Baz and the fact that nobody on the Cubs team has seen him, which is weird because he's actually been pitching for 4 years.
Yeah.
But he only has 51 games, so it's not like he's got a ton of games. But still, he's been around a little while. And, like, Santana doesn't have an at-bat against him. And he was in the American League. Like,
so was Willie Castro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so weird that it is so weird when you see something like that. But then Boyd has only ever seen Yandy Diaz.
Well, that crap happens, especially when you've got situations where you face the Braves all week. Yeah. Because if he wasn't on the Rays for the 1 week we saw him last year, yeah, exactly. When we went home and away, then you're not going to see him. So it's annoying. That's why I would rather it be like play him at different halves of the year, one home and a road. That would be home and road because that would be a lot more interesting because you do see a different team.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, and we talk about this all the time. Like, we saw the Dodgers early in the season.
Never again.
And we've never seen them again. I mean, we've been
Arizona too.
Brewers for a while. It's ridiculous. I don't know. But yeah, you see them at a certain time, and if you see them in 1 week, they could literally be having a bad week, and you sneak by a team, and you don't know. Or you catch the Brewers on their 11-game win streak, and 6 of those games are against you, and you just get screwed.
That happened to Dodgers.
Yeah. Yep. So, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen this week. And next week, we're going to go to Cincinnati, and the three of us are all going to be there.
Absolutely.
Bernie Barron's I got a whole list of the people that are coming, but Bernie was the last one that bought her ticket. And I'm still waiting to hear where we're sitting because Billy's taking care of all the tickets. But all I know is I'm like, this is what needs to happen. They're like, we got you. But they seem to know his wife, Alicia, used to work there. Billy probably is like, all right, here's the secret thing. We're going to go through this tunnel, and it's going to be good. Just got to trust me. I'm like, okay. So we'll see what we end up with. But we'll be at Binsky's Bar at 3 p.m., and we're going to do a live podcast, and we'll be hanging out over there. That's in the Camp Washington neighborhood.
I feel like if Billy can sneak us in, we could all sit on the far end of the bench in the Cubs dugout, and Craig Counsell would never even notice us.
Yeah, he would just think we're from. He would just think we're prospects from the minor league.
We just have to sit by Alcantara. He'll never look our way at all.
Yeah, he'll never look at us as long as we've got Alcantara, Ballesteros just sitting right in with the group. He's like,
So I guess what I'm saying is that since they didn't buy the tickets yet, that you could probably still buy your ticket. Because I don't think they bought him yet. And I guess they're not worried about it. So I'm not going to worry about it either. So, if you would like to come, you still could come hang out with us. All right. Well, that's all I have to say about the Cubs and everything.
Yeah. Well, let's give a little props out here for our boy Schwarber, who just eclipsed 50 home runs.
Holy shit.
This year.
Jed's an idiot.
Yeah. 50 home runs hit. And I saw this stat too. Cal Raleigh is leading the league at 53. He's kind of slowed down, but he's hitting 240. And Kyle Schwarber has 50 and he's hitting 240. And it's the first time that any player has ever hit 50 home runs and hit less than 250. And this year there's 2 of them.
That's wild.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. Oh, and I found That's the thing that you can buy.
What?
That's what you get at a Mariners game instead of a beer bat.
Okay, you could use that as a weapon. I don't know if I want people drinking out of something with those pointy sticks. Man, you could really hurt somebody with that. I mean, that's why they don't.
You imagine those in the bleachers at Wrigley?
Oh, we're definitely having trident fights. I already saw some guys when they played hockey at Wrigley last winter when they took there was actually instead of beer bats, it was beer hockey sticks. And tons of dudes were playing hockey, with those hockey sticks. Because of course you would. So they were just hitting garbage around, basically,
Hitting garbage around. But really what they were doing was making believe like they were hitting garbage around just so they could body check the crap out of each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I'm going to try to get out to Wrigley. It should be fun. Either way, I'll see a bunch of you guys. I'll see the two of you guys next weekend in Cincy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mike,
I get to check off another park for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you've ever been to Great American Ballpark. I have never been there either. Neither has Emily. This will be, I think, 12 for me and 11 for Emily because I got the Royals. I picked up the Royals and she wasn't there, but that's the only one that she hasn't been there with me.
I think I'm about 15, but this year I've added 3 new ones to the list because we went to the new Yankee Stadium, which is total garbage over spring break. And then when I moved my kid to college in Boston, we moved him in and then walked over to Fenway and caught a game there. And now I'm checking off Great American.
Nice.
Yeah, I won't doorknob the conversation, but I will say that there are more reasons to fucking hate the Yankees than ever these days. God, what a bunch of fucking tools. Anyway, that's I'm not doorknobbing the conversation. Yep. Yeah. He was
out on that.
He was a Cubs fan anyway. Fuck the Yankees.
Yankees are fucking tools.
The Yankees cannot claim him. He was ours.
No.
He was ours.
They can. They can. And they have. Yankee for life.
Yankee for life. Anyway, I just to add insult to injury, I would like because we're all coming back to Wrigley. That's the way it was last weekend. We had Ronnie Woo Woo coming back on Sunday. Johnny came back to beat the Cubs and for his bachelor party, and this weekend Rizzo's coming back. So I figure I'm going to make it nice, and I'm going to play "Coming Back to Wrigley" instead of one of the songs that I've had to since remove from the social media. So anyway, you guys can blame me for that too if you want. I don't give a shit. I'm 51. It doesn't matter anymore.
I can kick. I can stretch. I'm 51.
51. Yeah. Hey, you saw me do I don't know if you guys were at the Bleacher Band show. I was doing some pretty high kicks in the, me and Johnny were doing high kicks after Korean barbecue. We're seeing how high we can kick. Pretty high. And nobody died. So, well, not nobody.
No pants were ruined.
No pants were
in the
ruined.
High kick contest.
So anyway, listen to Cubs Pod. Be kind to each other because we're here for not a long time, but a good time. So,
right. Some of us better time than others.
Yeah. So
like Crawley in a fucking orange jumpsuit.
An orange jumpsuit. And so anyway, Mike, actually, I will doorknob the conversation. Do you have a fun bachelor party story to go off on? Because
mine was pretty tame. It was in Iowa. Just had friends. We played poker. I guess the most exotic thing was we did go to a really, really bad strip club, not too far from Ames. And then we came back. My friend was just making me rum and cokes, but I started with a can. So I sipped a little Coke off the top. And then as it got deeper, he kept putting more and more rum in it. So I was not feeling great the next day, but no great stories. Certainly nothing that could pop on with Crawley's.
Yeah, we should have ended with Crawley's, really. It should have been.
Story time with Crawley always wins.
Yeah. Oh, almost always. Yeah. So Spagog then.
Spagog.
Spagog.
coming back to Wrigley with a ticket in my hands. No ring upon my finger because I am just a fan. And I spent most of my money on sausages and beer. But I was there when they won it that year. A pressured anticipation had the city tightly wrought with a 5-3 combination as the sailing ball was caught. Half a dozen generations who would live to see the day the Cubs would take the season all the way. Now we're coming back to Wrigley. We're coming back to Wrigley, where the ivy will start growing and the April winds are blowing in today. The conquerors in triumph bring the foreign trophy home, like old Caesar on the Appian way back in ancient Rome. While the cities of the vanquished have to turn around and look as history's inscribed into the books. We're coming back to Wrigley. We're coming back to Wrigley. There'll be no talk of losing while the bleacher bums are bruising by the flags. And we'll pay more for the peanuts, we'll pay more for the beer, 'cause we're paying for the players that can win another year. We're coming back to Wrigley. We're coming back to Wrigley. We're all a little tougher, so let's just go win another one. We're all a little tougher, so let's just go win another one. We're all a little tougher, so let's just go win another one. We're all a little tougher, so let's just go win another one. We're coming back to Wrigley. We're coming back to Wrigley. We're coming back to Wrigley. We're coming back to Wrigley.
Hey, it's Rocket. I'm still here. I forgot to do hashtag chants. I'm going to do it in the chat right now. Forgot to do it. I'm drawing it now. Somebody's going to win. This is my Ferris Bueller's Day Off moment. Who's going to do it? And the winner is Artie Boucher. Congratulations out there in Colorado. Spagog, y'all. Good night.